Okay. So, yes, to answer the question about the DIY oversaturation, I think that it's just that the DIY, like aside from just the hobby side of it, it's also become like a marketplace type situation now. So um, the same thing is happening that's happened in the kind of pre-mixed liquid situation, where you have like everybody just kind of jumping on board, and so yeah, it's definitely happening. The main difference and the main advantage you have is making a one shot is that you can't just take someone else's recipe and release it as a one shot, because you're releasing into an educated audience. It's not quite the same with the commercial e-liquid, where you can just take bro nuts and release it because no one's mixed it, and selling to people not interested in ever mixing anything. I'd say that's really the only difference. But yeah, I mean, and it's interesting the way it's being approached as well. See people kind of dipping a toe in and thinking like, well, let's just try this and see like how it works. I'm sure like that's the case with like the one hit wonder, one shot line, and some of these bigger names. I'm sure they just want to test the waters and see how viable it is. But yeah, it's an interesting development, because you're not only competing against other mixers, you're also competing against e-juice companies that are like making one-shot products now, and flavor houses making their own one-shots like Pazzo and whatever. So yeah, definitely becoming heavily saturated. That said, I guess people are maybe more likely to try a whole bunch of one-shots than they are to try like, it's easier to try 50 one-shots than to try and mix 50 recipes, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was chatting with Silver yesterday. I don't know if you read the discussion on the forum about the idea of making one-shot bases.
Yeah.
So in other words, you don't bring out the full juice. You just bring out a milkshake base or a pancake base or whatever, and the person can then add whatever top note or sweetening or whatever they want to that.
Yeah.
So
I like that idea. I like that idea. And well, I sort of try to do that. I mean, like, I brought out that tobacco rodeo recently. And that takes menthol very well and mint very well. So if you wanted a mint version of that or a menthol version, you could just add like Inawera's, what's that mint of theirs? That super strong one?
Shisha strawberry.
If you wanted some mint, you could just add like 5% Inawera lime, and yeah, it'll be okay.
And then natural mint. Natural mint, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want like a menthol mint version of rodeo, you just add some natural mint or add menthol or whatever. So it kind of was designed in a way with that in line, because I did develop a menthol version of it in parallel. But then I thought, people can just add it themselves. It's cool. And then the next one that I've got coming out, which is called Easy as Pie, it's like basically an apple pie base. And it's pretty good on its own. But you can definitely, it's made to add things to, like add cream to it, add ice cream to it, add whatever you want on top of it. It's very much like a base flavor. Not to say it doesn't have some layers to it. It does, but it's definitely designed to be embellished and used as a flavoring as well as a one shot. So yeah, I do like the idea. I mean, I think it could be even further simplified, like you mentioned, which is a milkshake base, or I do like that idea. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to steal that.
What I like as well is the idea of unsweetened bases.
Yeah.
Where you can add sweetener, because I mean I'm enjoying Obsidian, but it's just too sweet for me. The one shot is on its own. It's a little bit too sweet. So to have an unsweetened base where I can decide whether I want to add super sweet or not, perfect.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. But I mean, who doesn't like super sweet?
0.5% super sweet. Gotta have it.
No, 0.75 is the new 0.5.
No, I'm on the 1%.
Yeah.
But isn't Flavora's sweetness the new one? No.
I don't know. I actually haven't messed with it, but apparently it's just sucralose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's stevia. So sweetness is stevia and sucralose base.
Okay, so it's both.
It's the latest that I got, but it's not as strong as super sweet.
Okay.
I've cracked it up like to 0.5, hoping it was as strong as super sweet. It wasn't. I went to 1%. It's still not the same. It doesn't have that. It's almost that like sugary powder sugar note that you get from Cap Super Sweet. I don't get that from this. It's almost the same as TFA sweetener, where like at 2%, it's not as potent as Cap Super Sweet.
Yeah.
If that makes sense,
Yeah. TFA is just that maltol just kills it for me personally. Yeah. Like it really, like at 2%, it starts muting things quite drastically. The maltol in it, and then it gives me vapor's tongue for like a year. So try. Yeah, unfortunately, I think super sweet's just the best. At least that I've tried. Out of what I've tried, and I've tried erythritol. I've tried xylitol. I've tried stevia. I've tried monk fruit. Sucralose just seems to work the best for my tastes. Yeah.
Yeah, for me as well. Sucralose is the best thing. Like, I don't know. Like I said before, it's one of those, like, I drench my chips in tomato sauce. That's how I see sucralose.
Right.
It's just like, it needs to go in everything kind of thing,
Yeah. I mean, the great thing for me about super sweet is really, I mean, it can mute things, like, in certain situations, but generally it doesn't. It just makes everything better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I'm in the Rudy camp. I don't add sweetener to anything. Nothing.
Yeah. I was like that for a long time. And then I changed.
Yeah, now you can't go back, right?
Like, just a heads up, the juice
it's hard to go back.
Sweet now, so don't mix that up, Rich.
What is the juice? What is the juice?
It's a strawberry milkshake, strawberry thick cream.
Okay.
It's like an old recipe of mine, so.
Yeah, and it's got to have sweetener, obviously.
It's got to, just for that strawberry, it just works.
Yeah.
I think I turned Theo onto Cap Super Sweet from it, so.
You can't have strawberries without sweetener. That's just, even in real life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But, yeah, super sweet. It's good stuff. But yeah, just to kind of get back to that one-shot thing. Like, yes, the one-shot thing it's like a new frontier for e-juice companies and for mixers and whatever. So it's going to just get flooded like all other sectors of the industry, like e-liquids or like RTAs and mods, and just there'll be tons and tons and tons. And I mean, you can see like locally, the local adoption recently, how many one-shot lines have come out like in the last month. Yeah.
All right. So I've got a question that's off topic, but one of the questions that was asked in the group is, what's your favorite Phil Collins song?
And can you play?
Does it have to be like Phil Collins, like solo career?
I think Genesis is still fine. I think I'm willing to.
Okay, because then I'll probably have to say like Genesis, like Mama.
Okay.
Good one. That's a good one. But I mean, Phil can do no wrong.
I agree on Mama. But we still have to acknowledge that In the Air Tonight is the most famous drum roll ever.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I had my MPC here, I could play it for you. It's that. Yeah.
But we might get a copyright strike, so.
No, not for triggering some drum samples. No.
You just get like Phil Collins monetize the video, you know?
Yeah. It's a pretty basic pattern. It's fine. Should be fine. But yeah, Mama. But I mean, you know, it's Phil Collins is like super sweet. Who doesn't like Phil Collins, you know?
Oh, yes. That's it. That's it. Strawberry, super sweet, listening to Phil Collins and vaping like, we need to Desert Island if you've got that.
Theo's the one with the drum kit in the back there. Go give us the roll.
Yeah, I can do it for you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next time.
All right. And then, the other question I got, which was basically, do you import your nicotine? Because a lot of people have noticed that your nicotine at 3 milligrams is a lot smoother than other brands. Like without mentioning the specific brands, but it tends to be smoother. Even with some of the international juices, I've found that it's also smoother.
Yeah, I mean, I will just say I get my nicotine from various sources. There's an international brand that I favor, but I can't always get it. So yeah, I mean, all I can say, because I hear this a lot, like people saying it's really harsh, or people are finding stuff harsh, and all I can say really is it's been my experience that nicotine supplies are inconsistent. You know, just like we're having issues with VG, nicotine is bloody inconsistent. It's all over the shop, and you got to test every batch. It's the only way to know. Yeah. There isn't one single supplier that I've had that's been like, okay, this is great. I can always use this all the time at this, at this volume, because I know if it says 100 milligrams, it actually is 100 milligrams, not 140 milligrams or 80 milligrams, because I've seen those kind of swings, 80 to 140 from the same supplier.
I've heard some people saying that they've got 200 milligrams thinking it's 100. They bought 100, and that when they put it through a titration kit, it was 200 milligrams. So have you had to test every time you get nicotine in? Is that
always test it? Always test it. Always.
Sorry for my ignorance here, but how do you actually test it?
It's just a mixture of some chemicals. You kind of use some chemicals, some acids and stuff, and you mix it with the nicotine, just changes colors, and it gives you an indication of the strength. Pretty accurate indication.
The easiest way to explain it is it's like testing the pH in your pool.
Yeah, pretty much. It's that kind of a thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So okay, I don't think they've done it again, but like it even, you know, there was a big thing about it a couple of years ago with nude nicotine, you know, where they sent out a whole lot of nic that was like way too strong. And then everyone was like, nude nicotine is trash and it's harsh and whatever. And it just turned out like actually it was stronger than 100 milligrams. And then I don't know, you know, I mean, here guys are importing basically like some of the local suppliers anyway, they're importing from, I don't know, unknown sources. I mean, I'm not saying bad. I just mean, I don't know what the sources are, like 1,000 milligrams, and then doing the titration here. And I'm thinking maybe some of the problems happening there, like if you don't have like a, you know, like a really good scale, or like your beaker is a little bit, because that's another thing I've learned is scales, can't really trust them, like when it comes to trying to be super accurate. And beakers, definitely, beakers, like compare two different brand beakers, measure 200 mils, see what the difference is. It's nuts, you know. You need like proper scientific, like graduated cylinders and stuff, like, and like really high end scales and that kind of stuff. The stuff we use I mean, it's fine for DIY, but like, you know, in certain applications they do fall down. That equipment is not up to snuff.
Yeah, I think with commercial, it's more important to have like a high-end scale than DIY. We can get away with the normal 500 gram, like two place decimal scale. But I know with commercial, because you've got customers that you got to think of, you can't take a chance. So your scales have to be pretty high end.
Yeah, I mean, also it helps you really eliminate the variables. Because there's actually a lot of stuff that can go wrong, and that does go wrong, like all the time, you know. Like, I mean, just like this VG thing, I know I've mentioned it a lot, but it's just like, that just comes out of the blue, you know. VG is something you just take for granted, like you trust it, like it's always going to work. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of mixes have no flavor, and you're like, well, what is going on? You know, and then it's this whole process of elimination. Then it's like, actually, it's the VG. You know, stuff does go wrong. And nicotine is inconsistent, you know, and it's just one of those things. It's like, so yeah, I mean, I hope that answers that question. Yes, I mean, I do have an import source that I prefer, but honestly, I can't get it all the time. And by the way, just a little punt. You guys probably know, but Sir Vape have got nude at the moment, and they sent me a sample, and it's good. Well, the sample I got really, really good, solid.
It's not bad. I've got quite a bit. Like, I stocked up on nicotine, so I've still got enough for another year.
Okay.
So hopefully they still have it in. I kind of went, like, I picked it up for a really good price, and then I bought quite a bit. So I kind of went all out 1 month. Nice. But I'll definitely pick up nude nicotine. Like, the nicotine I've got is pretty good. Like, I'm not sure it's local source, but it's pretty decent quality. Like, I haven't had any issues of harshness.
Okay, cool.
It's fairly smooth. Also, luckily I've got a 5 liter bottle of VG that's older than 2 months. So I'm sorted.
You should be fine. You should be fine. Oh, it's just driving me insane, this, because I'm trying to launch this line. Yeah, can I punt my line?
Yes, that's your next. That's the next
question. Okay, so I'm about to maybe VG dependent. I've got 4 new flavors coming. For those of you who do actually consume things that other people mix. There's Grand Slam, which is like a tennis biscuit-esque. I probably shouldn't have said that. Get sued. It's esque. It's a sports biscuit. It's very sporty. But it's got a lot. It's like it's. I mean, its own thing. It's like an homage. But it's very. You know, it's in the court, in the ballpark. But it's like, you know, I find personally tennis biscuits are kind of bland. It's, you know, they're tasty and everyone likes them, but you want to dunk them in your tea or something. You don't generally like just nosh like a whole. Maybe some people do, but yeah. So I felt it needed some like other elements and other enhancements to kind of make it more of an enjoyable type of thing and add some more body to it and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of, it's based on a true story. And then I have a new line called Goodies coming as well, which I think is probably some of the best work that I've done. So I'm pretty excited about that. 3 flavors in there. There's Mango Lassi, which is my current favorite, which is kind of solved. I mean, it's like it's a combination of 2 problems that like I always had, which is like a good yogurt and a good mango. like I never was satisfied with either elements of those things in anything that I tried, and here managed to bring them together, I think, quite nicely. So it's a good yogurt with a good mango, that's my current favorite. And then there's Sugar Dots, which is a kind of a jelly, mixed fruit jelly candy type of thing, and that's pretty good. My wife is always asking me to make that for her. And then the last one is what is the last one? I've forgotten now. The Apple Fizz.
Yeah,
Apple Fizz. Yeah, so Apple Fizz, it's basically, again, based on like a well-known apple taffy type of thing that everyone should know. And kind of added a bit of a sherbety vibe to it. Kind of has a bit of a sourness to it, I guess. That's not really in the original. So I just took, so anyway, that's my punt.
Nice.
Coming soon, hopefully, VG dependent.
So
isn't this goodies line the line that Daniel magically won on your randomizer on e-cigs?
Yeah.
Yeah, randomly, just to put it out there.
Yeah, random.
Yeah.
No, dude, it was Photoshop. Photoshop.
I swear it was random. There was no way I contacted Joel before the show and was like, listen, you got to be fine, that didn't happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously there was collusion.
I mean, I won the line and Joel's here now, right? So.
Obviously.
This is part of the conspiracies that Joel was mentioning earlier. Daniel is the Illuminati of vaping. We've got the kingpin right here in the podcast with us. He wins the whole Flavora line from Wayne.
That's true.
Wayne does.
Yeah.
He wins everything that's local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I technically also won a prize from Joel that time because there was a $100.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so it's not my first Mr. Hardwood's prize. But that was over a year ago, right? So it's still eligible. We're still good.
Yeah, 100%, of course.
As long as there's gaps in time between it doesn't look so obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should have left more of a gap. I mean,
it's a year, man. There were another prize giveaways in between,
I just got my connections at random.org to sort that out. I mean, what can I say?
I think one of the go for it, Rich.
When the receiver of revenue investigates Daniel for collusion in the vape competition market, Daniel is going to be able to say that it fell outside the current financial year. So it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Just made it, dude.
Just made it. I'm so glad you had that competition after Feb 28th.
Yeah, no, I just made it. That's cool. Anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm kind of proud of the work there, like the mixes and that. So, I realize it's kind of like when I'm talking to like a bunch of hardcore DIYs, it's like, some juice, whatever,
Yeah.
At least Daniel will get some, at least, like,
I'm like fairly hybrid. Yeah, I'm fairly hybrid, so I still buy a little bit of juice now and then. Me too. Once every 3 months, and then I mix most of the time my own stuff. I usually look for like sales or it's Vape Fest or something like that. Then I'll buy like a pretty good amount of juice, and then once it's done, then I'm mixing again. But it's like it's like eating out, it's a treat.
Yeah. I have certain favorites as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I've got
some things I've never been able to crack them or whatever, or like, so I'll just buy it.
Scratch the itch. Just a question about goodies. Is this the one that's going to fund your Boba's account, your Boba's Bounty account?
Maybe. I mean, I hope I still like bobas. You know, like Shane from Juicy Joe's organized a group buy, which I got in on. So I'm getting like 100 mils in 3 milligram, which they never used to make. So I'm hoping I still enjoy it. I mean, theoretically, I will. But you never know. You know, it's kind of that hindsight. Like, I remember how good it was and how much I enjoyed it. But maybe I won't like it anymore. Let's see.
Yeah, I've kind of had that happen to me now, where it's like I used to vape something a lot, and then I went back to it a year later, and it tastes completely different from how I remember. Like it's almost like a disappointment, because then I'm like, I just spent all this money. I was hyping myself up for this juice, bought it, and I'm like, it's not the same. I don't know if it's like your senses change or something, but it does tend to happen quite a few times. Like, even
and the manufacturers used in Awera.
Yeah.
Probably.
It could very well be that. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
like a selling point.
I mean, there's a lot of that kind of thing happens, you know, where you go back to something that you really liked and it's just not as good as you remember, or you get something, you know, new and it's like, hang on a second, I've had this before. And, you know, that also happens like quite often, you know, it's like, oh, this recipe again, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I think what you should put on your label.
Wayne strawberry vanilla bean ice cream cone again. Really? Come on, guys. Just steal another one, you know. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's like,
in terms of the profiles that you come up with, is it totally driven by your own tastes and your own preferences, or do you think, you know, there's a gap in the market, there isn't this type of profile out, maybe I should go for that?
Well, it's kind of both. Okay, so like if we take goodies, like you know, mango lassi, I honestly have no idea if that's even a marketable idea. I mean, because firstly, the first reaction I had was a whole lot of people saying, what's lassi? You know, I didn't call it mango yogurt or whatever. It's mango lassi. And, you know, so I don't even know. I just know that it's a great flavor. And I really enjoy that combination. And I love mango. I've just never really been satisfied with the mango. So, you know, but then you got something, say, like the Grand Slam or even Sugar Dots, you know, like I know, okay, these are popular products in South Africa. And so there is a value to kind of trying to make an analog of that. It kind of makes business sense, as well as being like quite tasty and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say I'm not like in business. Like there is a profit incentive and motive behind some of the way that I think. You know, I just try and do it as well as I can. Like if I'm trying to recreate a profile or whatever. So yeah, I guess it's a mix of both. Some of it's like what's missing in the market, and some of it's just like, this is something I really like, and I hope other people are also going to like it.
I think just on the last point, because you've mentioned now your commercial line, I don't know if there's any new one-shots that you want to mention or that you can mention. Besides mango sticky rice, but you can mention that one too. So.
Okay, so yeah, we teamed up with Shindo to do mango sticky rice, which like hopefully will get out there as soon as possible. So that's like a profit share thing. Shindo gets will be getting like half profits. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff that's cool to do as well. And then Easy as Pie, the second hard shot should be out this week. Hopefully this week, start shipping this week. So that's also coming. And then like I'm in talks with some other mixers about doing some of their stuff, and you know, open to those kind of ideas as well. And then I have a couple of other things that are in development for hot shots, which I won't like mention straight away, but yeah, there's stuff coming, there's stuff in the works. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and finally, I guess this is letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but like one of the things we're also looking at is actual flavorings, single flavors.
Oh, cool.
In other words, just joining that overcrowded market that we were talking about earlier. But I figured, if you have like a kind of like vape train's just a good example, just because they're from the same hemisphere. But I mean, essentially came out of nowhere and and came up with some decent product, and there's absolutely no reason we can't do the same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's something that I've been working on for quite some time, actually.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Any more questions, guys?
I have a question. Because I don't know, I feel like you asked me a lot of questions. I've been talking like the whole night. But like, where do the scumbags like went out of DIY? Like, where do you see it going? Or like, what do you want? What do you feel is missing? Like, pretty broad question, but
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I initially started out DIYing just because I wanted to save money, but now it's become a hobby for me, right? And it's been like that for the last 2 years. So I've been mixing up for about 3 years, and then the last 2 years it became more a hobby. But for the last year and a half, I would say I really got into it. So I'm still on an expedition to get around some of the flavors that already exist that I haven't tried out yet. So I'm still on that journey, so I'm pretty happy. I think the only thing I would like to see is more vaping friendly DIY concentrates. We've got Vape Train now, and we've got Flavora, but I would like to see everybody jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I guess if they can do it without sacrificing the flavor. I mean, look, I think Flavor Art, which I mentioned earlier, they've done like a pretty amazing job. Although some of their really good flavors are still in their kitchen line, so there's that.
For me, what I love about DIY, and this comes back to the point I asked you earlier about releasing flavors or releasing profiles that you like, is that it's one of the few industries that isn't driven totally by market research. What I don't want is a situation 5 years down the line where marketing companies go out and say 38.7% of people want coffee with Cremora. That is what we are going to make. And you have like 6 profiles that are universally popular, and that's all you can get. Where DIY has become very frustrating for me, again, it's this whole first rule thing. And this is where I would be looking at one-shots. I mean, Daniel and I spoke about this for quite some time earlier, where really I would be looking at the staples. I mean, things like DIY Flavor Shack Holy Vanilla aren't going to go away. So you can buy it with confidence, knowing that you're going to be able to use it years into the future. So to look at getting about 100 staple concentrates that you use, throughout, and then complementing that with one-shots, whether that be bases or the full juice, but trying to find some way that DIY retains its vibrancy and its originality without needing 1,500 flavors, to sample the best of what is out there at the moment.
Yeah, good points. I would also hate to see it become over commodified. Yeah.
I think for me, like in terms of I want to see more local type flavorings. So stuff like Horlicks, we have spoken about developing recipes, but sort of like that malted milk Horlicks note or Milo being one of them. Like we've got a lot of like local stuff that we like that I've tried flavorings on it that don't do it well. So I would like maybe more of that. And then obviously, like more one shots. I definitely see a big market for one shots. I have noticed that like there's times where I've been mixing for like a month, and then I'm just burnt out. I don't want to. I don't want to carry on mixing, so then I just do one shot for a couple of weeks before I get back to mixing. So I think it's between those two things, and then one more thing is just a decent blueberry. Like I mean, I think like that's my white whale, is that like purple sugary blueberry. I've yet to find the exact one that I want. So
have you tried the medicine flower?
I did not, because that is bloody expensive.
Yeah, it's damn expensive, but it's just by none like the best blueberry ever.
Well,
I mean, it's like if you buy like those big, like fat, juicy blueberries like from Woolies, and then you bite into it and you get like that outer skin and then that gush of like the insides. It's exactly like that. And then if you add some sweetener to it or whatever, then I think that's going to give you what you want. I mean, it's medicine flower, so it's all the caveats that come with medicine flower. It will fade out on you. You can't store it forever. All of that stuff. But for that window when it's good, it's just like the best. Yeah,
I think that's part of it. But have you ever tried that tinned blueberries, which is like it's like blueberry compo that you buy for cheesecakes? It's that blueberry goes on cheesecakes.
Yeah,
that exact blueberry.
Right.
If somebody nails that, I'm probably gonna, like, if that's a commercial juice, I can't DIY anymore, because I probably have to buy that the whole time. It's a difficult profile. Like, I've tried.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I have a question, Joel. We spoke with Zane a couple of weeks ago about this issue of DIY flavors fading and the sort of lifespan that you can expect of them. What has been your experience of how long flavors last, and do you have any tips for DIYers on how they can possibly extend that lifespan?
Okay, well, I mean, the number one tip obviously is like as airtight as possible. So these like little rubber bulb type things, and that's not the best idea. Chubbies like have some issues as well. Some of them, especially the clones, like there isn't a good seal on the lid. So yeah, you just want it as airtight as possible, I guess. As far as longevity, it does seem to vary. Like certain flavors like just last forever, or like 3 years, no problem, and some of them about a year. So what I found is that the manufacturer's recommended kind of best before dates are usually pretty solid. You got a few months beyond that, I think, but generally it's generally 1 to 2 years. I don't know if that really helps because it's quite broad, but like certain things that are more base type flavors, for example, like vanilla swirl seems to just last and last and last, and graham cracker clear just lasts and lasts and lasts, and things like that. But then strawberries and fruity stuff definitely loses potency big time over time, and stuff like cap vanilla custard doesn't, in my opinion, not more than a year. I wouldn't keep it longer than that.
If you're the type of mixer who buys like 50 ml or 100 ml, say, would it help, do you think, if you decant it into a smaller bottle and then froze the rest, or kept the rest in the fridge?
Yeah, look, I mean, some things don't survive freezing. Some things crystallize and then never get back to their original form. Some things use essential oils that will actually separate from the base, and you'll never be able to mix them back in, even with heat. So you got to like be a bit careful with refrigerating stuff. And I haven't tested enough to know, but which do and which don't. But I know that some of them do because I have experienced some of that. So I think maybe room temperature. Or like, cool, dark place, kind of like medicine. out of the light, and smaller bottles, I guess, are probably a better idea just because there's less air. And keep the air out as much as possible. And then, like, I know this, like we mentioned earlier, medicine flower, like just dilute that shit straight away, put it into PG. It's like straight away, it will definitely extend the life. That stuff's so expensive, you may as well do it,
You mentioned the manufacturer's recommendations, but that's something that we DIYers
that's
don't
true.
get.
It's true. You don't get the bottle with the thing printed on it, So yeah, it's hard to say. You never know when your batch was created. Because I obviously have a bunch of stuff like that, but yeah, I guess that does make it more difficult. But if you know a flavor well, then I guess you start to pick up when it drops off. But it has been my experience 1 to 2 years, like Hang Seng, for example, that's a solid 2 years. I mean, that stuff is just made out of melamine or whatever. It's just like indestructible. You'll get 2 years out of it. But like some of the TFA and cap stuff, whatever, is a bit more delicate, and it does. Like what I've noticed, for example, Capella, the vanilla custard, like it reaches a stage. I mean, it's usually quite yellow, and then reaches a stage, it starts going like kind of brown, and then it's just not as good.
My strategy has been to just buy 10 mils.
Yeah.
In the hope that you're getting new stock. I'd rather buy a flavor, a 10 mil 4 times a year than a 50 mil once a year. Just to try and keep throughput and to keep getting fresh stock.
Yeah, I think that makes. I do think that makes sense. I mean, just rebottling is going to happen. It's just how the industry works. So, I think definitely if it's a vanilla custard or vanilla ice cream or whatever, the staple stuff, like you can be pretty sure it's going to be fresh-ish. It's going to be like they're moving through the stuff. If you go and order like bilberry, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I guess it's a tough one. I don't know, and I can't speak for those suppliers, so I don't know how long they let. Because I'm going to assume that like if they're doing the right thing and like if there's spoilage, then it's just a write-off. It's spoilage, it gets chucked, they replenish the stock, it gets written off their expenses. I would hope.
Yeah, I've got a situation like that.
Yeah.
You know how BLCK has got the new HDPE droppers, right? Drop a little bottle.
Yeah.
And not HDPE, PT bottles, right? But I ordered this not too long ago, and it's the old HDPE bottles. I know this is older stock because they've had the new stock for quite some time now. So, but I don't think it's that old because the change happened this year. So, and this is just 10 mils, so it doesn't really concern me.
Yeah, I mean, I've also had that like recently where I ordered and then I got a mixed batch. Like some of the same flavor was in new packaging and some was in old packaging. I mean, and they were both fine, but I can see how that could like be a cause I mean, if that happens in a year's time, you get one of those HDPs, then that's definitely a problem. But it's kind of you just got to kind of trust that people are doing the right things. And I personally have never had an issue with any of the local guys that I buy from. And I use Flavor Mill, I use Black, I use Valley Vapor still, because he's still just sometimes has things other people don't have or whatever. But I've never really ran into any issues.
Who's impressed me, maybe not in terms of longevity of the flavor, but certainly in terms of not fading, is Liquid Bond.
Oh yeah,
those flavors are solid. I'm vaping my testers now 3 months in, and they like they were after a couple of days. They don't fade at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're just maybe a bit on the weak side to start off with. Yeah, but they got a bunch of nice flavors. I do like them. I like that ice cream a lot. Vanilla ice cream. That's really good.
Great ice cream.
Yeah, it's kind of like the missing link in a way, like that sort of just in between state, like in between Capella and Hang Seng and TFA kind of thing. It's like all the best qualities of each one. Yeah, I do enjoy that one. Yeah, Liquid Bond's pretty cool. Who else have I? There's another company. Oh yeah. I suppose it doesn't really count. I got some of these super concentrates from Bull City, like it's their own thing, whatever, just called super concentrates. Some of them are pretty cool. Just been checking those out. But yeah, I mean,
are they actually super concentrated?
Yeah, they're pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, 1% single flavor, kind of plenty.
Yeah.
So they're not the 8 to 10% super concentrates that you.
No, they're not like
from other lines.
They're not like real flavors. Yeah.
But I think they're alcohol based, eh? The super concentrates from Bull City.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't check. I mean, probably, I mean, so is real flavors, but like, man, some of that stuff is super weak. I mean, I don't know. I keep getting into this kind of like argument about real flavors because people are like, no, you just got to use it at like 1% or 1. And I'm like, I've pushed it up to like 8, 9, 10%, some of those real flavor super concentrates, and I still barely get anything out of them. So I don't know if it's like there's something about the way those flavors are made that like they don't work for me, or like they really are just weak. I don't know, because I keep seeing people saying like, no, they're using it at like 2%. I'm like, how does it? That's just how.
Have you tried the strawberry and the super concentrate?
Yeah. Okay. So that's one of the exceptions. I mean, you can get away with 2% there, or 2 or 3%. I mean, there are some exceptions. They're not all like that.
Yeah.
But
I found it pretty close to TFA strawberry. Like in terms of the type of flavor it is, like it's a bit more on the reddish syrupy side, but as like a replacement to TFA strawberry, I found it pretty consistent.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying that they're all trash. Just most. No, I mean, like, no, they have a couple of good ones. I mean, the strawberry is definitely an exception, but like, I'll give you an example, like the French toast. I got it because like a lot of people are saying that's what's in French Dude and, whatever. And I tried it at the recommended at the 2%, and it was like nothing. It was just like a vague sort of vanilla vague. And I pushed it up to 4%, nothing, 6%, nothing, 8. Eventually I was like at 10%, and it was just the same, like kind of vague vanilla with a bit of egginess. And then I see people going like, no, you just need to use it at 2%. It's like perfect French toast. And I'm like, what? Is it me? What's going on? I bought a second
VG,
bottle.
Man.
Yeah,
it's the
could
VG.
be.
VG.
Just blame the VG. It's TFA sweetener. Ethyl maltol just kills me. The maltol.
I got decent strength flavor from it, but it's not French toast. It's just like
what do you get?
It's a generic unsweetened bakery. That's all I can say. It's like it's like an unsweetened cookie.
Yeah, I kind of get vanilla and egg kind of thing.
I was hoping to get egg, but I didn't get that at all from it.
Yeah.
What have you found with the Capella Silver line? I mean, Concrete River tried the whipped marshmallow up to 25% in the city. Now, if Concrete gets nothing from it, nobody's going to get anything.
Look, they vary quite a lot, but like whipped marshmallow and the fruit ring circles are probably the weakest. The whipped marshmallow I found really does not have much flavor, but you do get texture out of it. So it does give you a bit of a chewy texture. Like, but again, like 5, 6, fruit circles, sorry. You got to use like 8 to 15%. This is just based on my testing. What else? the 27 fish and 27 bears seem to be good. On the lowest end, maybe from 4% to like 12%.
Yep.
Cinnamon sugar, yeah, 5-6%. I guess depends how much you like your cinnamon. Yeah, I mean they're definitely on the weaker side, and some of them do fade. Fruit Circles fades a lot, so you got to pump it. The gummies doesn't fade so much. That's 27 bears and it doesn't fade so much. But yeah. The biscuit. The biscuit.
Oh, okay.
The biscuit's pretty solid. It's actually a very nice biscuit flavor. It's also just quite weak. Like, yeah, I'd say also like kind of 5 to 10% type of a flavor. But very good. I mean, it's just another one of those biscuit flavors that taste like coconut for whatever reason. There's a lot of them. It has a strong coconut taste, but it's good. It's good. It's got a nice texture. And yeah.
Rick was saying the blueberry is one of the best blueberries he's tasted, but again, he just can't get it to register. It won't come to the fore.
Yeah, it's kind of a pity. It is good, but it just easily gets buried in a mix. The same with like the Fruit Circles. Like it's such a nice Fruit Loops flavor, but like as soon as you add cream into it or whatever, it just dies. Like you got to like really pump it. So yeah, I mean they are good flavors. Some of them have got some good juices. It's kind of a weird concept though. Like, you know, like instead of super concentrate, we're going to sell you super dilute, but really cheap. You know, yeah.
What is your white whale flavor? I mean, I know you've not been happy with bananas for a while, but
bananas. Okay, so there's a few: banana, coffee. I mean, I would say it's probably like this for most people. Like have these similar issues. So banana for sure. Coffee. I mean, blueberry to some extent, although the medicine flower blueberry I really enjoy. So I can't say there's one that I don't enjoy. There was something else that I've been chasing. Chocolate, like I think I'm pretty done with. Like, yeah. I mean, I do think that chocolate whip was really good. I think it came out exactly like it was supposed to be. Like, you know, and I don't know how much further. There's nothing else I want out of chocolate vape. I guess it doesn't fall into the white whale category just because I'm not chasing it anymore. Like I'm kind of done with it. Plus, at least, sorry, Theo. I mean the other Theo from Australia, but like at least 1/3 of vape train flavors taste like chocolate, even if they're not meant to. So, so there'll be a whole lot of chocolate options available for the chocolate fans. But you know, white chocolate, I think maybe could make it onto that list because I love white chocolate. Like I really love it. It's it's quite difficult because it's sort of a vague flavor. You know, it's vague. It's just that sort of, you know, it's
more texture, right?
Yeah, it's more of a texture. Yeah, more of a texture. Yeah. But it does have that cocoa bean type of flavor to it, but just without the, you know, the dark part of the. I don't know how to explain. I mean, like, you know, it's chocolate, but it just doesn't have that other note to it. And
and from the TFA, you get the pepper spray.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course honey.
Yeah. I've had like a pretty good result with getting like not white chocolate but close enough. What I did was I've been using like obviously Flavor West white chocolate, but not as the main note. I use it as the base, and then I use some something like Mullenberry Glamour chocolate or Mullenberry cocoa.
All right.
Cocoa milk, just to add the chocolate note to it, because the white chocolate itself isn't enough. So you need like almost like a vanilla whipped cream with the white chocolate, and then actual chocolate in like small amounts just to emulate it.
Don't you find, like what I find weird with the Flavor West is, to me it's got a bakery note in it. I get like a real cookie note out of it, like when I push it. Like it's got white chocolate, but it has this kind of strange underlying wafer note to it. That like, I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, like I get like a caramel wafer if it's like cranked up really high, like at like 7 or 8%. That's why I can see it working at like a Kit Kat, but
yeah, I guess
it's still not like it's still not like exactly white chocolate. So I'm with you there. Like I've been playing around with adding regular chocolate because it's vape form, right? So you can play with like power of suggestion.
Yeah.
No one's gonna see it and say, "Oh, this isn't a white chocolate." So
yeah, I guess. I guess I could see that's maybe not a bad idea, just to boost like the perception of chocolate, but without really pushing that like cocoa note. Yeah, that could work. Because like a Milky Bar type vape would just be awesome, I think. You know, just if you could get that texture and that like heaviness that you get like out of a Milky Bar. And then coffee, I don't even know if it's worth talking about because it's just all
given up.
It's just all so disappointing.
So bad. Yeah, just can't. Even Up, which used to be like an okay coffee flavor for me, I can't do it anymore.
Oh, God,
I'm getting all that like ceralic bakery notes with it.
Oh yeah, all the off notes. Yeah,
all the off notes with it now. Like especially once it's steeped, I feel like it just gets worse. So it's like on a shake, I'm still like, oh, this is okay, but that's definitely. By the way, I mean, like the one that I'm after is the Milky Bar Smarties.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Like that's the one. So then I'm like, if I crank up the cocoa, I can sort of emulate the chocolate inside a Smartie.
That's getting that separation is going to be like quite a feat if you can pull that off. You know, like here's the white chocolate part, and then here comes the cocoa, here comes the candy shell. You know.
Yeah.
Milky Bar jelly tots.
Yeah, that could work.
That's the one you want.
Yeah, that could work. I'm actually just throw some white chocolate at one of my recipes at my work.
They had a new one out, which is I tried the other day. It was it's a Milky Bar with jelly tots in and Astros, which is pretty good. So that was pretty decent.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Milky Bar. It doesn't get enough love as far as I'm concerned.
The Smarties version was my favorite chocolate bar for like I think most of my teens, right? When I first had one of those, I literally bought nothing else. That's all I ate from a chocolate perspective, you know. So I was quite disappointed now to hear that, you know, making that might be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where the layering is like I just don't even know how you would do that, you know. Like, I mean, with something jelly candy, it's more obvious. But when you're two different types of chocolate, that's like, how are you going to keep them that separate?
And chocolate is a difficult thing on its own, right?
Exactly. Chocolate's already like a major pain in the ass, so it's like.
I was thinking like, what's that Flavor West Double Dutch, which is supposed to be a milk chocolate and a white chocolate. So I thought if that's got the separation, I could play with that. Which
doesn't really though.
Yeah, you see.
It's just chocolate. It's just kind of more chocolate, I guess. You know.
I think Wayne gave the best answer to this on one of his podcasts. Somebody was asking him about, you know, the separation of the flavors, and he said, well, the flavors aren't really separated in this, but you've got to use your imagination.
Totally.
I'm just getting cream fresh, but if I think about it, it's kind of like a lunch bar with Mari biscuits on the side.
But I mean, I got to be honest. I'm like prone to doing that to myself. I really want it to be something, and like mentally, I project onto it. And meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I know it's not working, but I'm telling myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting this in the layer or whatever. It's
I get this with cereals. They talk about, you want crunch in cereals, and every cereal I taste is just as smooth as a baby's ass. Yeah. So you put in 0.25 AP, and you kind of convince yourself, oh no, now I'm tasting crunch, and it's not. It's just smooth cereal. It's a smooth base. It might as well be a cream.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to, even I don't know, even AP doesn't really do it for me. Like, I mean, the only real crunch that I get really ever is Flavor Art cookie.
Yeah.
Like, that really does seem to have a type of a snap to it. Like, and then also this new Silverline biscuit has got a similar type of sensation of like dryness, like crunchy dryness to it. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Those cereals are all like just creamy.
Yeah, it's just a plain. Another one is effervescence, of course. Everybody says, I managed to get bubbles from my FW pink champagne mix, and you taste it, and it's just, it isn't. Yeah. There's no texture there.
Have you tried what's it, Liquid Barn Cola Fizz?
No.
I've got some, but I haven't tried it yet.
Like it's somehow got this like sherbet effervescence to it.
Okay.
Like they like managed to achieve it there. I don't know if it's just me. That's what I want to know. But it's the one flavor that they've emulated it well, if I can put it that way. It's worth a try.
Give it a try. I've been meaning to try it anyway. But there's one recipe that I've seen on E6 SA that has popped up a few times. I can't remember who the mixer is, but Andre has like spoken about it a few times, and it's supposed to be bubbly, have like a bubbly thing to it. And I keep meaning to mix it, and I can't remember what it's called now. But it's got like nectarine in it or something. Or I don't know what it is, but I'm quite curious. But yeah, I mean, like I got the Vape Train, the fizzy sherbet.
Try this. Like I don't know why, but it happened to me now. It's like try any citrus like vape, so something like a orange vape, but put earphones in. I'm not kidding. Just anybody try it, get back to me. Put earphones in, then vape, but you get like a fizziness. I don't know if it's because it's something to do with like one of the sensors getting shut down, but
maybe.
It happens to me, and I always like whenever I'm vaping with earphones in, I get like this weird like fizziness from it. Like,
yeah, I mean, you could ship an e-liquid with a pair of headphones.
There we go.
Yeah, put these on. Directions, put these on first.
You think we could, like,
and then you can embed subliminal messages as well, like those silent affirmations. Fizz, fizz, fizz.
No, but then we call it skull candy, right? And then the earphones are skull candies, and then the juices are skull candy.
Yeah, I mean, marketing options are endless there.
Like Lambo, here I come.
Like we were talking earlier about bad VG. The best effervescence I got from a juice
bad VG
was when I made one with bad VG. I mean, it wasn't even supposed to be a fizzy thing. It was like a cookie. So I made this, and I think, this tastes like Coke, but not in a good way. It's like
like rotten.
It's like Coke that's been mixed with green swimming pool water, and it's getting effervescence from the hohos that are sort of decaying inside the Coke. So
I mean,
that's really good.
Well, I mean, well done. Because, I mean, from what I read about it, like one of the primary functions of effervescence in nature is to alert you that something is off, to alert you that something has spoiled and gone bad. So, you know, there you go.
Yeah,
rotten is the answer.
Any liquid source in nature that's bubbling, I mean, you've got to be wary of that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true, because even actual effervescent drinks that we all enjoy, we all know those things are like poison, you know. I mean, Coca-Cola is good for you. You know? Like, yeah. So, but yeah, it makes sense, you know. If something's rotten, maybe, a rotten type of effervescence. Or like, you know, if you left the liquid fruit in the fridge for like 3 months, you know, like, and then you chug it and it's like champagne, you know.
Get the nice cotton wool texture going on there. Good mouthfeel from it as well.
Oh man.
Oh wait, Joel, just one question. So you've been asked like what e-juice do you take with you to desert island, but I'm going to make it a bit easier. What 3 flavors do you take with you to desert island?
What 3 flavors?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty versatile, so you can like, you know, pick 3 that can make a variety of profiles.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'd probably take like some kind of an apple. Some kind of a, I know this is not really answering your question because I'm not being specific, but like some apple flavor, some type of a cream flavor, and super sweet.
Nice.
No. Super sweet's not a flavor. You just get that. Like, you can pick a third. Super sweet, you just naturally.
I would just take super sweet. Just just vape super sweet. Like
that answers everything.
I can see Joel on the desert island, and the person who was marooned with him, Joel says to them, "You must try my Bailey juice." And they say, "Let me guess, it's an apple cream."
Is it sweet?
It tastes like cream fresh and Fuji with super sweet in it. It's just like the juice you did last week.
No, but I changed the percentages.
Can't you taste the separation?
Yeah. Last week there was more apple. So switched it around.
I got some effervescence from the VG this time. It's apple tart.
I left the VG in the sun. Don't worry. I mean, you could, depending on your desert island, you know, you may have resources there. Like a coconut, you could, you know, do something with a coconut, or you could like put some shrimp in the VG, or
there's some salt as well. I'm sure.
Salts.
Yeah.
There we go. Saline sorted.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. You could get a real sand. If you ever had sand in your vape, you get more crunch than you do from a cookie. Yeah. That's like. That's I don't know. The desert island thing doesn't sound too bad. But then you'll find what happens. You'll find what happens is that, you know, like some, you know, if there's any previous inhabitants, they would obviously start a juice line to compete with yours.
Just would steal your recipes.
Yeah. Your recipes have to be written in the sand because there's nothing to write on. Right? It's like on some kind of rock in a cave, and you're like, okay, it's like 2% FA Fuji, and like 3% cream fresh, 1% sweetener, and somebody's like, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's like typical like vapors or DIYs. You know, if you strand on a desert island, like what 3 flavors would you like? Not like, wouldn't you like maybe like a big stash of penicillin? Or whatever, you know.
What you do, you'd walk the whole way around the island, and then you get to the other side, and you find that there's people there, and they say, "Try my juice out," and it's your recipe.
Yeah, that would happen, definitely. Anyway, I guess the point I was before super sweet sidetracked me. It would be like apple and some other fruit, because like apples, you can like really bend them into all kinds of funny things. So I guess apple and another fruit of some sort. I don't know. strawberry. Yeah. Guys, thanks a lot. It was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining, Joel.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, Joel.